So this is another model answer, for this time for sources of finance, but it's one which is again using your research question and to justify your recommendation, and it's worth the large mark 10 mark answer. So the full question is, using your research of businesses in your local area, recommend methods of raising money which the firework company could use in order to invest in the research and development of tailor-made private and corporate events. Justify your recommendation. We know that there's going to be a question which is something like this on the exam paper. You need to read it very carefully, but we have been told that they need to raise more money for research and development, so it's pretty certain you'll get something similar. So first of all, I'm starting off with the fireworks company could raise the money for developing new products and services by using retained profits or getting a bank loan. So it's basic level 1 answer because I've given 2 methods at that point. Remember, the question says methods, so you must give more than one. In order to get level 2, I just need to explain what that means. So retained profits is money which a company keeps back in reserve and doesn't pay out to shareholders, and a bank loan is money borrowed from a bank. Fairly obvious. Right, now we need to make sure that we start the sentence for the next section about the methods with "from my research." From my research, I found out that a local firework company which wanted to expand and buy up another firework company used money which they had kept back as retained profits. Now that's actually in the Skyburst sheets, that they actually bought out another company at one point. I think this is a good method of raising money because it is available immediately and there are no costs such as interest to pay. However, it does mean that if anything goes wrong, the firework company will not have any money in reserve to use. So the fact that you've now used the research and the fact that you've actually explained an advantage and disadvantage of that method should be moving it up into the level 3 bracket. Now I've gone through the second method. Another method which I found a local business used to buy new computers for their displays was to take out a bank loan. The advantage of getting a bank loan is that the fireworks company could pay it back over several years, but a disadvantage is that interest would have to be paid on the loan, which might cause them more problems with cash flow. Now this again should be a level 3 answer. Pity my typing's not brilliant, but anyway, ignore that. But one thing I do want you to note is that on the exam paper mark schemes it specifically says that quick and easy are not reasons to take out a loan. So try and make sure that you're talking about interest levels, and particularly in this company with cash flow. So then the final section is to make sure that you get the level 4, which is to do your evaluation. The question actually asks you, let's just go back to it, justify your recommendation. So you must do this final section. In this case, I think the best option is for the firework company to use retained profits. This is because it will not cost them any extra money, as there's no interest to pay. And a bank may not be willing to lend them money for research and development. Now I think this is important because they've actually said in the case study that the money is used to research and development. And I've put on here, this is because research and development is not an asset. And if it's a large sum of money, banks usually want something they can have as security for the loan. So the fact that research and development isn't going to be something which they can actually take back if the company can't pay, like a car or a building, it may be that they'll be less willing to lend money. However, it depends on the company having enough retained profit to cover the amount needed for research and development. So if they haven't got enough retained profit, they would have to look elsewhere. So that should give you a level 4 answer. I have just put this extra little bit on the end because another alternative that you might want to look at is if they're a private limited company, they could sell more shares to family or friends. And then you could discuss the advantage of selling the shares, as it doesn't have to be repaid, but a disadvantage is that there may be a loss of control of original shareholders. And you could relate that back to Skyburst, because Skyburst case study specifically says that Alan did not want to raise money via selling more shares because he felt he would lose control of the business. And then when you come to the conclusion, you could talk about that as part of that issue, about the fact there'd be more shareholders, profits would have to split between more of them, other people would be able to vote on the decisions, or different people might have more sway in terms of voting power. But anyway, you need to read the question at the time, but that's another option that you might want to look at.